We'll call the work session to order here, and if you will, we'll stand, have a moment of silence, and then we'll do our pledge of allegiance.
Hey Josh, can you make sure we keep the Birch family and the community over there?
Yes, stay at that microphone if you don't care.
Just want to make sure that we keep the Birch family, the loss of their son, the community, in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank y'all for that. Now pledge. Attention, salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We appreciate that. We got a packed house for some recognition. It's getting that time of year, and I know I see some familiar faces, and I'm always excited to see what folks has done. So I'm gonna turn it over to the director for our recognitions here.
All right, so we'll get started. We'll go down. We'll start out with the Jefferson Middle Swim Team. If y'all can come forward. After that, we'll have the Jefferson Middle School Beta Club. Then we've got Scope. We'll do Boys and Girls Wrestling. And then we've got Skills to end it. So that's how we'll go. Come on up.
So tonight, we at Jefferson Middle School are proud to host middle school swimming in our school. However, it is a countywide team, but we do a lot of work at Jefferson Middle School to support them. We have like the best coach in the world. I'm sure that these students would agree. Coach Josh is here, and so I'm going to turn it over to him and let him speak about middle school swim for just a minute.
Yeah, I came here first, I think 2 or 3 years ago to talk to the board about getting approval to form a countywide swim team. And since then, we haven't lost a dual or a tri-meet. So we're super proud of these kids. We don't have very many here tonight. A lot of them are at their club team practice because they're very committed or for other sports. But over the past 2 years, we beat 13 different schools in the Knox area. So very proud of them.
We get a picture?
Where do you want to
No, you're fine. Okay. There we go. Mamas, hold on. Wonderful. Thank you all very much.
So in November, our Beta Club at Jefferson Middle School went to Nashville. Thank you for approving our overnight field trip. And we did this. This is the second year we did it. It's hosted at the Opryland Gaylord Hotel. And the kids worked really hard to go, not just financially, but also their hard work. We came away with a lot of awards. I'm proud to say that Jefferson Middle School walked away with lots of awards, beating out lots of private schools and other schools in our surrounding area. So we were super excited for that. I'm going to turn it over to 2 of our Beta Club sponsors, Mr. Chris Justice and Liz Brogan, and let them tell you about what we won. I think they've got an outstanding student here with an award she won as well.
Yes, so we're really thankful to be able to be here again. We got to talk to y'all last year, which was our first time doing a state convention, and had a very successful round that first round. And this year we took even more students and competed in more academic and creative and leadership activities and competitions. So we came back with 8 state awards in which they competed against over 7,000 other students from across the state. So this is Riley Hill, and she actually placed first place in jewelry design. And then some of our other awards, we won 2nd place in digital art, 4th place in 7th grade computer science, 4th place in 8th grade social studies, and then for some of our club awards, we won 1st place for accessorized design, 2nd place for service learning showcase, 2nd place for 2-dimensional design, and 5th place for 3-dimensional design. And all of those qualified to compete at nationals in June. So we're very proud of all of the hard work of all of the members of our club. And then just in addition, the big highlight of Beta Club at JMS is our service to the community and to our campus. So each month we do community projects, whether that's at school or in the community. We just volunteered at the powwow yesterday at the high school. So not just working academically and creatively, but we're also developing lots of leaders and servant-hearted leaders. So we're super proud of them. So thank you all again for letting us come out.
Come on. Kick her out of the way. Who's next, man? Let's go. Tell us what we got.
Okay, I got to take 3 ladies to Belmont University in Nashville. The state of Tennessee holds a conference every year, SCOPE Conference, which is Student Conference on Policies and Education. Basically, they get to go through what it is like to vote on policies and hold a mock school board meeting that's all student-led, and they had a great time. From what you talked about.
We got to debate within like small groups and then a bigger group. So one of our topics was like if school funding should go towards more CTE things or the arts like theater and things like that. And then within the big group, we also debated what was it? It was club sports. Yes. So yes. So like policies like that, where if you do a club sport outside of school, should it be counted as like a school event or credit? So we just got to go through things like that and build some leadership skills and meet new people. So.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Darren, I'll tell you this, I think, when did we start this?
4 years ago.
4 years ago, I remember Darren approached me, we had maybe we had boys wrestling, and he approached me, and I think we kind of had a girls team that just ran around with the boys because we only had 1 or 2. And he said, hey, you give me a supplement, make me the girls coach, and I will build a team. Here they are. So, what all have we done this year? Tell me all about it.
Let's see, 4 years ago we started out with 2 girls. This year we ended up with 16. The past 2 years we've taken 4 girls to the state tournament. Gabby Newton, 4-time state medalist, also won her 100th match this year as a senior. We're just looking to build, get bigger and bigger. Thanks to Dr. Arnold.
No,
and,
we just allow.
Coach Newton, my assistant coach, he's the one that steers the ship.
So, Gabby's been working hard. She always works hard. I probably bought 150 candy bars off Gabby over the years. She came up in the football stands one year, and we bought her whole box, whatever. So we try to continue to support. Elizabeth's in here. How are you, Elizabeth? Good. So, great to see these girls being successful and proud of them. Good job. Get where you can be seen. Let's get a picture. Put her in the back, Luke. Ready? Skills? We need the boys. No, boys wrestling. I usually wouldn't have missed it if Coach Bronson would have been here.
He's not here tonight, unfortunately. You're stuck with me. So.
Coach Bronson's a little high energy. Coach Bronson. It's like the 4 of us always apart when we hired him. Tell us about it.
Sure. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt Moore. I'm one of the assistants here. Coach Brunson can't make it. We were able to take 3 wrestlers to state this year. Luckily for me, one of them was my son, Brian. We've got Caden and we've got Zeke. Brian also secured his 100th win this year, which is a huge milestone for any wrestler, with boy, girl, or 100 wins is a big deal. We got our 18th regional championship or district championship out of the last 19 years this year as well. So a lot of success on the boys' side. Brian's going to be going on to Ottawa University this year, or next year, to wrestle in college. Caden's still trying to make up his mind where he's going, and maybe we'll get Zeke talked into it and a couple other boys there as well. So love to see this continued success of our wrestlers outside of high school, moving on to college, and doing great things after completing school here in Jefferson County. So
Congratulations. Thank you all. Now, sorry. Skills. Tell us what we got here.
Oh Lord, there's a bunch of them. There's a lot of us couldn't make it today. Some of y'all I've talked to before. Some of y'all school award I've been here 2 or 3 times. Skills USA is a state and national organization for career and technical competitions, both hands-on and test-wise. This year we had a record number of people. So I don't forget anybody. For MLR, for Krieger and Noe, maintenance and light repair, Tyler couldn't make it. Then he got second. Then we had 2 gold medals for HOSA. We've got Peyton Howard did medical assisting. And then we've got Lotus Platt did practical nursing. They both got first place. Beat everybody at every high school in the state. Then we've got the computer science kids. I know them best. So I've been in front of them guys quite a bit, and we've brought a lot of computer science kids. So we've rotated some in and out the past couple of years. So this was our rebuilding year, and we've won more medals than we've ever won. So, in no particular order, in telecommunications cabling, that's running the network cables, doing the fiber optic, doing the infrastructure that AI is never going to replace. We got first and second this year. We got Marley Borden got first, and then we've got Kylie Worth got second. They beat everybody, even the college kids, by over 70 points. They were close, but we're not going to say how close. Then we have Robbie Carlton. He did internetworking, which is once they run the wires, he sets up all the switches in the infrastructure. He got first. He beat everybody except for the college winner. So he has to do a program and do some hands-on and do a design scenario. The judges told him he would have medaled at nationals the way he performed. Then we've got our cybersecurity team. So over the past couple of years, we've first in cybersecurity 3 times. We've got national medalists. We've got Sean Canfield and Bentley Lewis. Since we don't have everybody, some people's holding wrong banners. They got first. All of these kids are sophomores. So, Marley, Sean, they were the first sophomores to win gold for us. We've got Eli Arney. He was our first computer programming gold medalist. We was able to teach him things that you can't learn from a website. So he got first in computer programming. We've got Aubrey Garcia. She's not here. She won IoT. That is smart things, Alexas. She's going to mount TVs, do antennas, program that all together. She's got one of the more rigorous competitions. She beat everybody except for the college kids that got first. The cybersecurity kids, they got 924 out of 1,000. They beat 9 college teams. The only people that scored higher than them was the first and second place college team. Then we've got Emory Richards. He kind of got through into it. He did awesome. He does IT services, which is troubleshooting computers digitally. He ended up second. Hopefully he gets his bid, his invitation for nationals. Then we've got Brianna Webster. She ended up third. She was so brave. We did customer service. It was the first year that we did customer service, so we didn't know what to expect. So she was kind of a pioneer for us. But she got 940 out of 1,000, and still ended up third. And that was out of people that had been doing it for years and years and years and years. So she rocked it. But yeah, this is our skills team, and we thought it was a rebuilding year, but they sure built a good foundation to start with. We've got two kids that was kind of wanting to tell you what it meant to us.
Wonderful. Tell us about it.
This is Marley. She's a sophomore. She's every bit of this tall. She beat all of the college kids. She's the one that won by 70 points.
I just wanted to say how important it actually is to me to win at state, because when I first got into Mr. Dalton's class, I had no intention of ever doing this, and now I want to do it as a career, even after all of the mistakes I made at state and still winning. It means a lot to me.
It was very fun this year. I went last year with everybody, and it was fun. My sister and my boyfriend got me into it, and it was really nice. And just, they're a really good group of kids, and the opportunity, is wonderful. And thanks to Mr. Dalton, of course.
Brownie's our network and skills leader. She's like the skills mama to all these sophomores. Hopefully we're going to be able to bring her as an observer to nationals to kind of help wrangle all these kids and keep all these sophomores in line.
And I just want to say how none of us would have been able to win without Mr. Dalton. He is by far the best advisor and best teacher I have ever had to win.
Is that a paid announcement?
They're all getting nice, right?
Yeah, it's all right. It's hard to get all of them in.
Don't move. Did y'all want to talk?
If Emory qualifies, Jeff County will be representing every single computer science event at nationals for Tennessee.
All right, so those of you here for recognitions, you're welcome to stay for the meeting, but you don't have to. So if you're leaving, now would be a good time to leave.
You staying?
Bob.
Yeah, let's go home. We're gonna go home and make supper. Did you get those pictures?
Yeah.
Come on, but we're leaving. I know. Oh, you do.
Congratulations.
We're just gonna keep talking.
All right, thank you all, appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll say, I'm always impressed when Mr. Dalton shows up. I mean, since I've been on here, he's been coming and bringing state winners and national winners, and I'm really pleased when we can see all these different teams and these groups. And that's what it's about, getting these, and I loved hearing what the young lady said about, this was something that she wants to turn into a career now, because that's what you're working for when you're in the classroom, and especially in CTE stuff. We want to see those students pick those skills up, and go into that, and I really like it, and I appreciate it. I got a feeling that they won't tell you, but no school computer is probably safe from these kids. They can probably get at them and take them and do all sorts of stuff. Might need y'all to look at mine, because I can't update it to the next version with all the locks on it, so.
I teach them ethics first.
Yeah, that's good, but I appreciate y'all, and I'm so happy with all our teams. We got the swim team, got Beta Club. I mean, I remember when Beta Club, when I was in it, it was just Beta Club. Now there's like this huge competition and things, so I was totally impressed. And the girls wrestling, I mean, 20-some years ago, if you'd said girls was wrestling, I'd be like, what? I mean, is this like WWE or something like that? But so impressed, and to know how well they're done, I'm very, very, very proud. So that takes us then to the public input portion, and we got 3 minutes per person on any later. Now, I do want to say this because we've got, and this is actually going to, I guess, this policy is going to be changed a little bit over the next month or so, but as of right now, I want to read about appearances before the board and what our policy is. So, individuals speaking to the board shall address remarks to the chair, me, and may direct questions to individual board members or staff members only upon approval of the chair. So you come before us, you're talking to me, and if I so choose, I can let you speak to an individual board member or staff member. Each person speaking shall state their name, address, and subject to presentation. Individuals desiring additional information about any item on the agenda shall direct such inquiries to the Office of the Director of Schools. With the public input period, the thing I wanted to point out, the chair shall have the authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who is disruptive or does not adhere to board rules. Personal attacks of board members or school employees will not be allowed. So I believe in civil discourse. I think that's one of the most important fundamental rights we have in this country, is be able to address your elected officials in a civil manner. But it needs to be civil. No one in this room wants to be talked at, like I say, talked at like a dog. We're all, well, most of us in here are supposed to be adults, and we should be able to talk to one another in that fashion. If you can't, we can let you, I don't know if one of the officers here tonight, but she might drag you on out of here. That's only had to happen one time since I've been chairman. I want you to be able to get your point out, but I want you to be respectful of the board, and I want you to be respectful of the school employees when you address. So please keep that in mind. Remember, 3 minutes on your subject. So we got anybody?
Just one person, Victoria Schubert from Jefferson City.
All right.
Take that back, there's no reason.
No, you're fine.
Remember, name and address, no,
Name, address, and roll.
yeah, and what you're gonna be speaking about.
You guys just let me know when you start. Okay. Good afternoon, you guys. My name is Victoria Schubert, and I live on Fort Edie Road in Jefferson City. I am a parent of 2 children in Jefferson County. I have had the privilege of experiencing 3 different districts. So what I'm here to speak about is just bullying policies. I'm not here to attack a single person or particular person. I'm just here to address the fact that we have a lot of falling through the cracks with the policies and the state laws that were put in place to protect these children. That's what I'm just speaking out about. I have had my own personal issues with school issues in separate district. I've addressed many, people. I know there's been a lot of people staying in the same place as I have, and also addressed the board as well. So with me, where I'm coming from with the policies, is it seems like a lot of parents in this community don't feel like the way that certain bullying things are being taken care of, that it's a zero tolerance policy. Now, per the Tennessee state law, it is a zero tolerance policy across the board in all forms. When you pull and you read that section 46, whatever, it is the whole. It says, how you're supposed to treat the incident, how we're supposed to document it, how we are supposed to start an investigation, what we are supposed to do from that investigation, what action plan we are supposed to put in place with whatever student that might have either been confirmed to be bullying or not confirmed to be, because you find that from the investigation. But it seems like a lot of documentation of these problems it's not being done. And I don't know, like I said, just from the concerns I'm getting from the community and parents, is that it seems like a lot of it just slips through the cracks because it's not being documented at school. Parents are not being called and told that their kids said something malicious to another kid or did something malicious to another kid. What we're seeing in a lot of the schools throughout the district, and it's not just this county, it's everywhere, it's a common problem everywhere, is that we're sitting these kids down and we're talking to them and we're saying, hey, you guys don't need to be like that, you guys need to get along, we need to whatever. But at this point, now the community is mourning the loss of a little boy that has been dealing with bullying in and out of school. So that's where I'm coming from. Whereas what exactly is it going to take that we take the law seriously and the policies seriously? Because instead of sitting down kids and saying, hey, let's talk about it, let's make it whatever, let's make it a zero tolerance across the board. You say something mean to another child, you get reprimanded for it.
All right, thank you. Who's next?
Chase Rice from Dandridge. Rich.
I taught him to ride, that's why.
Yeah, 5th grade. Chase Rich, live on Ross Drive. I appreciate y'all giving me the time to talk. I spoke to a couple of the board members about and Dr. Arnold about getting higher education back in schools. Previously, Miss Talley taught it at Maury Middle. I think Miss Phipps taught it at the high school, but that was well over 20 years ago. Last year, they passed the law that requires the general firearm safety in the schools, no matter the grade. They just, and I researched it today, the governor did sign a law where it has to be hunter education, not just firearm safety. Hunter education has to be available for anybody from 5th to 12th grade in the public school system. What I would like to try to do, and hunter education is something that I'm very big about, and we use the term hunter education, but at the end of the day, it's not just for hunters. It's just firearm safety in general. That class consists of tree stand safety and things like that bodes towards the hunting, which is a requirement for anybody that would be in the school age at this time. I would like to get this class put into the curriculum, and what I've been looking at, and I talked to Dr. Arnold about, was 9th grade, everybody has to go through a wellness class. We could teach it each semester in that wellness class, and you could get everybody in the county in 9th grade to go through this hunter education class. And it's a week of time for me, for the other officers that would be involved. But what we have seen since 2020, COVID hit, most of our hunter education went to online. And our hunting accidents and firearm incidents in general have started climbing again. Whereas prior to 2020, we were almost at zero, especially in the hunting accident world. So whenever they go online, is it truly them taking it? Is it their parents? You'll never know. But at least that hands-on learning, the videos, the experiences, actually taking them out to a range and letting them shoot a gun, just to say, okay, you picked up this gun, what do you do with it? How do you handle it safely? And that's what I would like to try to get pushed through in the school system. If that would be something that y'all are interested in.
All right, I appreciate that. I've been wondering about how we was gonna sort of go about handling that. I've always thought about TWRA, we used to do something similar in Knox County. So I'm sure Dr. Arnold been on top of it.
Mr. Maples used to teach, Mr. Maples and Mr. Martin used to teach in high school, and Maples retired. Martin's not, the Wild Atlantic class is just sitting there anymore. So it's just something that y'all can think about and consider.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was it. All right, appreciate everybody coming and speaking tonight. So that brings us down to the board approved agreement renewals, and I'll turn that to Dr. Arnold there to talk about that.
So, keeping up with a little bit of a policy change, that any board-approved MOUs have to go through 2 work sessions before they end up on the business session. So, on the fair lease that is a board-approved MOU, it says within that MOU that the lease will continue unless the board takes action. So that's why you don't see that listed here. So it's up to the board to take action to stop that renewal of the fair lease. Within the MOU for mental health, it says that the board will review the yearly extension. Therefore, it is placed on the work session agenda and will be on this work session, next month's work session, and then the business session. And you either take action to extend the MOU, or you take no action, or vote down. It'll be up to you all as a board to consider that MOU. This is April meeting, so it would be at the May meeting. And that's what this would be on here. If you voted to extend the MOU, it would just be the same MOU. That would be a date change to the following year, or, you know, you could vote to modify, but that's totally up to you as a board. I just wanted to remind you why it's on there. Any questions on that?
So one thing, I was looking over this, I know last year when we were developing this, big thing that I was concerned about was the background checks. If I'm not mistaken, I think anybody that has direct dealings with our students have to fall under the same type of background that our teachers or anybody else in the schools. I don't see that in here specifically. I think it just kind of states, and I may be wrong, so I'm kind of asking Dr. Arnold, do they get their fingerprints done? Is it the Identigo, I think it's called? Do they do their own and just let us know? How does that work?
So, all businesses, or we do not do the background checks of another entity's employees. So we only background check our own employees. And I can look now, or I can send that to you all later as far as the background check responsibility that's listed in the So 5A says the contractor agrees to comply with Tennessee Code Annotated Section 49-5-413 as required under statute. Contractor will provide fingerprinting and criminal history record checks conducted by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation for employees, subcontractor personnel, and volunteers of contractor that will enter the grounds of any Jefferson County school or property owned by Jefferson County School System in performance of services of this agreement before permitting the employee, subcontractor, personnel, or volunteer to have contact with students or enter the school grounds when students are present. Criminal background checks will be conducted at the expense of the contractor in accordance with TCA 49-513. Contractor shall maintain background check records in accordance with applicable laws. So that tells me that they would follow the same statute that TCA 49 is an educational background law. So that's the same background check that our employees receive.
Okay. And I only bring that up because I know with private duty nursing, there's a little bit of a discrepancy between the private duty nursing and then with the therapist here with this one. I just wanted to make sure, because I know the private duty nursing doesn't fall under the same, and I think that they're still the same type of, they're still around the students. So I'm just kind of inquiring about that.
Yeah,
I don't know if the private duty nursing needs to be updated.
Yes.
With this.
So we did update the private duty nursing. I know there was, the first time we had that, there was a little confusion. The first time that was acted upon after updated. But going forward, private duty nursing would fall under this same thing in their agreement with the board or with the county. And if it was a speech pathologist that was from a outside contractor doing services, they would fall under the same agreement.
Okay. Yeah. Which are the same background checks that the teachers get done, that kind of thing.
The same background check that all school employees,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Somebody else has a question, but I have one question.
I understand it says on B, contractors shall maintain background check records in accordance with applicable laws. Does the school district ever get to see these background checks, just for our own information? Some way to at least take a look to make sure that those contractors coming in to our schools to work with our kids, are all up and up?
We do not house we do not view the records of other systems employees, so they have to verify to us. So whether it's the mowers or the construction workers or whichever contractors are performing duties within the system, under the statute, they are in charge of keeping those. There are certain requirements within federal law. I remember whenever Mr. Bennett was here one time, he mentioned it, you should not receive the records of another entity's employees. So that's not our duty. It's our duty to put the standard on the contractor, but it's not our duty to do their job for their employees.
So if there happens to be a contractor that perhaps has something questionable on their background, we don't know about it, and it only stays with just the contractor? Am I understanding that correctly?
So the contractor would have to verify that their employee was suited to work on school grounds. If something came back on their, I would not imagine that a contractor would take a chance on an employee. If Blaine Construction came in here to do work, I don't think they would take a chance of the publicity to put an employee on a job site with kids that was a registered sex offender.
I'm sure, certainly hope not.
Yeah, that would not be, compromise your entire company over that would not be.
So it's a matter of trust.
It
We're putting
is.
our trust and faith in this company to make sure everything is good.
We are.
I think that goes for, like you said, that goes for all, so.
Yeah.
That's it.
If we have a question about a specific individual, can we request the background checks?
If something came up against an employee, we would, and we have questioned. The one incident that comes to mind happened before the employee was under consideration, and we brought it to the company's attention, shared some stuff with them that would not even have come up on a background check. It was just some information that was shared with us, so we shared it with the company, and they made that decision.
I noticed in there, I just want some clarification for this term. It says volunteers. I would assume, that's why I'm looking for clarification, volunteers of the contractor. Would this be a therapist that might be in training?
I've never had that. I think that's just legal jargon that Bennett put in there to cover anybody that would be on site. So for instance, so even if we host an event, a registered, especially registered sex offenders should not be on school grounds. That's a law. So this is a cop-out to, if we give a school, for instance, you host an event at the high school, that entity can't allow somebody that's not allowed on school grounds to be there, because there's always somebody at that high school usually 2 in the morning till 2:10 in the morning, there's not somebody there. But other than that, somebody's at that high school doing something all the time. Whether they're hitting softball, baseball, they're dropped off waiting for a ride or something. You know, school's kind of in session. So that's a protection in there. In my time, you know, volunteers, that's just thrown in the MOU as coverage.
I just wanted to make sure that as far as a volunteer maybe doesn't have their license yet and their training, because from what I understand, they need so many hours before they can get their license.
We have that.
We do have some interns, but they go through the same background process, background checks.
Well, I'm not talking about the background check as far as that. I'd have more concern about somebody who's actually not a licensed therapist doing a therapy session by themselves.
So,
Helen Ross McNabb.
to my knowledge, they are not necessarily by themselves. They have another therapist who is above them that oversees that process.
Yeah.
Just like whenever we have counselors, student
Or student
teachers,
teachers, yes.
you know, those types of, there's somebody with them providing oversight. Kind of like whenever you go to the doctor and they bring in sometimes they'll bring in somebody, yeah, and they're like, hey, such and such is with me today, do you have any concerns or issues? But that doctor's providing oversight.
I just want to make sure that, you know, in case the therapist happens to call out last second, you know, that we don't have somebody in training who's not really licensed to do that yet, that's all.
Yeah, same thing for our school counselors, same thing for our student teachers. You know, whenever that teacher's absent, we don't say, student teacher, just take the class. We put a school employee in there to provide oversight. So just remember, it's not voted on Thursday. I mean, you've got another whole month to consider whatever, make yourself comfortable, and we'll go from there.
It's not actually about the MOU, but I do have a question about our behavioral health. So I don't know if you wanted me to wait to the commissioner items for discussion or with the incident that happened last week. Did they provide us with an emergency crisis team at Rushstrong, the students and teachers?
Both? Carrie, you wanna?
So I asked, because Allied is a presence in Rushstrong schools, I asked.
Come on up, Carrie.
Okay.
Carrie, that's the one thing, she's been waiting a long time. She loves to stand in front of groups.
Well, no, that's the last thing I like. So because of last week, I asked Allied to only be present for the students that they see at Rushstrong and to help with our adults in the building. So they had extra support in Rushstrong School last week to help with that. Because of the MOU, I was trying to be extra cautious and I didn't want, unless there was an overflow of students, I didn't want any mixing of, I didn't want them to see kids that they didn't already have parent permission. However, I will say there were a couple of kids who went to them and they did see them and contacted parents afterwards. There were 2. Otherwise, we had extra school counselors in the building all last week. We had some today and then we'll have some more tomorrow. So there were other school counselors who work in our district who went to Rushstrong to support them.
I do know Thursday night, Helen Ross will be at First Baptist Church for anyone that needs to talk to him or anything. So we do know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. I know that was a very difficult situation, especially for such a young individual. Good to be able to have those folks. But I will point out too, remember that there's 2 MOUs in there with Helen Ross McNabb and Allied, so it wasn't just one, that was 2 to be looking at. Special committee reports, just reminders on meeting times. Joint School Board County Commission Committee meeting, May 21st, 6:30, courthouse. Usually we have it at the Baker County, we had to do courthouse here. Building Maintenance Committee, we'll be meeting April 14th, 5:30 Piedmont, and add anything to that? All right. Appreciate the folks serving on these committees. That brings us down to director's input on busy session agenda items.
So I shared the Talbot Elementary project update by email. I also gave you a hard copy today. Starting to see some things move along a little faster with some roof structure going on, brickwork, a lot of that mostly done. So we are looking at, we moved them off of restroom and gym renovations till the end of the year, just so we don't conflict with events going on at the school, various things. We have TCAP testing coming up, so we wouldn't want them in there beating and banging during that. But it is moving. If you've been by there, it's moving along at a better pace. We've had better weather. We do have, I know in there, we had a completion date that was sometime end of this month or something. We had several weather days there with snow and cold and rain and different events, especially during the concrete and block work and brickwork stage that delayed some things from moving along faster. So they've got several weather days that's extended the project further out. But we're still on schedule to finish in June, end of June, around 1st of July, so plenty of time for the beginning of school in there. That's Talbot. Jefferson Elementary School, we talked before about design development has pretty much ended right now. Blankenship is trying to get a cost estimate. That information is out to a company in Atlanta to provide a cost estimate from where we're at now. So initially we got a rough draft estimate as we begin this project based on the board's scope of work, based on people coming in, contractors, engineers looking at the project, giving estimates in the beginning. Now that development design phase is at the end, we'd like to get another cost estimate to see where we're at. And there's just a lot more detail known that we can get a closer estimate on. And we talked about that construction documents have to be drawn out and finished before a bid can happen on the renovation and full renovation and construction. So that's probably not going to happen till late July. So what we want to do is pull out the abatement of that school, and we are looking at a company that will give us abatement specifications so that we can bid out the abatement of that school over the summer, and the building will be ready for renovation starting whenever a contractor is hired. So if you were in Walmart in Jefferson City whenever the renovation there happened, whenever they took up the floor tile and kind of took up the mastic and you were kind of on concrete floor for a period of time, that's very similar to what would happen at Jefferson. The tile would come up, the mastic that glues the tile down would come up. You'd have a fresh concrete floor to be on, and it would be a cleanable surface and be able to go from there. You know, there's some pipes, most of the pipes are external, they're not hidden behind plaster. There's only a few that would need, you know, some type of access hole to be able to access those pipes to remove the insulation. We have to leave the piping in place, that's our boiler pipe, water pipes, but we would move the asbestos material while school is out there in the summer and get that done so that construction could move forward once a contractor is in place. You know, if you remember a little bit about the Talbot project and we have to go through board approval of construction documents. Then the bid happens. If it comes in at or under budget, then we approve the contractor to, which would be a low bid to move forward. And then attorneys get involved with the contractor. Contracts have to be signed, so it has to go through the school board attorney, county attorney, then Ms. Elder, myself, sign those documents. And it's a cumbersome process to, at the end, whenever you think, well, we've got a contractor, but then those documents have to be signed whenever the lawyers get involved. It does eat up a little more time. But that's kind of where we're at on Jefferson. It is going to be, you know, a lengthy process.
For those of you who weren't at the last meeting, the Blankenship had some good news. Dr. Arnold already touched on that, where, you know, most of the asbestos is in the floor tiles, which are easily accessible, and on the piping, which is easily accessible. So it shouldn't be as difficult a job for that abatement as we may have thought otherwise it would be. Also, Dr. Arnold, if you could mention the roofing struts, they were worried that those would be wooden rather than steel, and they found that they were steel.
All of them? Yes. So, one thing that we ran into at Piedmont was there's still some wooden decking, and some of that had to be taken out. So we were concerned about that at Jefferson because we didn't have detailed records whenever that roof was put on. And we found out that it is a metal decking. There is no wood surface. So that saves removal or extensive fire protection of sprinklers on that wood decking. That's a great thing. We were concerned about asbestos in the window caulking, asbestos in the plaster. So none of that came back hot with asbestos. Anything else, Austin? So we knew the floor tile, we knew the insulation. Even on the insulation, there's a lot of it that's already been done, so there's not as much work on that as we anticipated either. Still a big job. There's a lot of floor tile. Oh, yeah. A lot of floor tile. So that removal of the tile, removal of the mastic through a liquid gel removal process would have to be done.
Thank you. Any other?
So with the lack of all the other stuff, having the asbestos, does it look like they're definitely then going to be able to do all of this summer, the abatement?
I don't know. I mean, I'm always hesitant of what may happen, you know, until it's done. You know, just like I thought Duke was going to win. And, you know, that last second will get you every time, so, you never know what's gonna happen. So, you know, Duke lost, Tennessee ball baseball led by 5 runs going into the 9th inning, and they lost. I mean, so, you know, we could get in there and find something, or something happened, and it's a delay. But one thing about it is, we're not going to we're not going to get in a hurry and sacrifice anybody's safety. So if we got in there and we didn't finish a wing, then we'll just start construction, do whatever we can, and we'll abate next summer. So we're not going to push something or waste the, we're not going to save time at someone's expense or chance of. So that would not happen. Ag building at the high school, we have poured concrete on that ag building. They are setting up a form for the manure chute, little ramp and pad, and then the company comes in and gets exact measurements of the slab, and then they ship the correct materials that's needed. So still on schedule to have that done whenever we start back in August. So that's a very positive item for the high school. There's $25,000 allocated once we finish that building for supplies and equipment for the building. We've not run into anything major in that project. This afternoon I met with the Perfection Group, and we talked about, they were here over spring break and went through Jefferson Middle School with a fine-tooth comb, checking every HVAC unit, and it's a lot more cumbersome, time-consuming process than than Rush Strong, where we just pick the unit off the roof, set it over there, and put another unit on, retro the curb adapter, hooked it up, and moved on. So this is both inside, outside units. There's some demo inside units. So we can't just go into a classroom like we did at Rush Strong on the roof and get a lot done. So with that inside-outside work, we can't do it whenever students are there. So that's going to be a big push during the summer to get that as much accomplished as we can. Plus, you don't know if it's going to be 36 or 86 this time of year. So during the summer, there's nothing going on at that school. We can push forward, get a lot done. And then we can come in the fall. Miss Simpson has a few, she has a couple of extra rooms. So if we get in the fall and we miss 6 classrooms, we can move people into a spare room for 3 days, finish that room, move them back, and then just keep that process going. So we do have a plan for that. I don't have a time frame and schedule yet for Jefferson Middle School or for Maury Lighting, but I've told Matt whenever he gets that, get that to me so I can plan for, so you'll know whenever people ask. Anything there? Yes, sir.
Is has the shelter, whatever the awning at Rush Strong been done yet?
Not yet.
They ordered that, Austin. Any issues yet that you've heard?
I haven't heard anything.
We'll check on that with them. I know they finished up at White Pine. It's the same type awning, very, very good looking awning. It's up at White Pine on the gym side. And then we've got some bleacher work That has been awarded. I don't know a time frame on that either. Have you heard anything from?
Is that the Marty Bleachers?
Yes, Maury in the high school, one section at the high school. And then, we'll find out on that. I've not heard anything, but it has been awarded to the company, the bid deal.
Russ Strong is still on the list to have it done.
So, Jessica and I spoke about that a little bit going into next year's budget. We talked about wheel tax money that's given by the county for capital projects, and including that in that. So the board made a motion to next year budget address bleachers in the small gym at Rush Drive. Off the top of my head, does that sound about right? So we would look at that out of wheel tax money designated by the county for capital projects of the school. It's one of the projects to include. Somebody look at that yet, Austin? We guess at an estimate. Guess. We did have a quote on that. So we had a design and a quote of those bleachers to be able to budget. So. Anything on that?
Question, and I may have overlooked it. What gym was it? It had the floor got damaged?
Forgot about that. High school.
Yeah.
Water under.
A weird thing, I don't see how the pipe held together this long. Do you, Austin? So, copper piping, you insert a male into a female, and you solder it in. These two, this pipe was, instead of inserted, it actually just stuck up against it, and they soldered around it. I mean, I don't know how it held together this long. So we have some pictures of it, and but it flooded behind the gym in the wellness hallway in the boys' locker room. Busted on sometime early Saturday morning, and luckily our ROTC was leaving at 6 a.m. They came through there at 5:30 and stepped in water and called us, and we were able to get there and shut it off. So insurance has awarded some damage. I've not seen a check yet.
We haven't either.
Yeah, so they have awarded us some damage money of an amount, and then we have met with some companies. They pretty much all said the same thing: a 17 by the length of the gym area that needs to be removed, replaced, and then the entire floor would be sanded to match and refinished.
Did we not have this same problem about 4 or 5 years ago when Dr. Edmonds was here? Didn't we have water on the floor?
That's whenever Dr. Johnson was here. That was at Patriot Academy during that hard freeze.
We had an issue at Jefferson County High School.
That was during the renovation in 2016. There was a roof leak that damaged the floor, and that was.
When it replaced the whole thing at that time?
I wasn't, it was 2016, Jessica wasn't there. I believe the entire floor was replaced at that time under insurance by the company.
Was that during Dr. Johnson's?
No, it was during Edmonds, 2016 or so during the renovation. The renovation of Jefferson County High School.
Did we replace the floor at Patriot Academy 2 years ago?
Oh yeah, 2 years ago, Patriot Academy that was during that freeze. That was Christmas morning. When did I call you?
It was either Christmas morning or Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Eve. So there was a ticket booth room that the heater in there had failed, pipe, sprinkler pipe froze, busted. Yeah.
So the Talbot gym hadn't started yet, it will start during the summer?
Correct. During the summer, gym and the bathroom renovation. Yes. Summer. Anything else? Last thing I think I have is budget.
Dr. Arnold,
Oh,
we got a check today for the flag.
check 89,000,
78,000?
78,000.
Yeah. So it came in this afternoon.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
78,000. So, we'll work, so nobody knows that amount that we've talked, and we'll disclose that amount, so, hopefully they're not listening. If I was listening, I know what
I
I did, I'd
actually
tell
just
you.
told you the wrong amount, so don't worry about it. That's not it.
Yeah, but, the budget came out, so you've seen an initial budget. Had some conversations with some of you all. You know, as you dig into it, look around. I know that, Paul and I had a discussion today just about, at the board retreat, I shared a document that showed some reduction in students. You know, every year we evaluate the number of teachers that we have in our district, and we kind of have a student-teacher ratio that we like to stick with. You know, in early grades, K through 2 is smaller than 3 through 5, which is smaller than middle school as you move up. So we address that every year. I believe this year we had 5 reductions of certified teachers. So we did not terminate anybody just through attrition of an employee retiring. We were able to cut a position out of the budget and move forward. But, you know, we addressed, I believe it was over the past 15 years on that sheet was a 9% reduction. The majority of that occurring during COVID was a big year for reduction of that. Any questions there? But you can look in there of, especially on the front sheet, which is the revenue page. One thing that I sent you an email on was, you see the variance, that's where things have increased. Down at the bottom, you see a $1.2 million increase from the high-performing bonus that we received. Just remember that money's in there this year to make the budget. I had reminded you that the high-performing bonus had changed. Going into next year, you have to meet 2 matrices. That's going to be very difficult to meet next year. You know, that's not something, that's a gift. That's not something we count on. So it was able to help with the budget this year, but we don't anticipate that every year. And then you see we had a $1 million TISA base growth. I do want to remind you that employee raises cost about $2.3 million this year. So with roughly 560 certified positions, over 600 hourly positions. So the governor's initiative for those classified employees was one of the largest raises that we've ever given. to get beginning teachers to $50,000. Due to our step increases, we're going to $50,200, which is our step right above $50,000. We don't have a $50,000 step. So that is occurring. One thing that I do want to note is on that revenue page at the top, you see current property tax. The property tax amount is the same from 2025-26 to 26-27. Currently, we do not know the growth of the penny. Remember that the penny's worth so much money. The county commission allots the school system so many pennies. Whenever the penny grows, then our revenue grows. So Jessica has not been issued that amount. Within that email that I sent you, I just let you know that student technology, student devices did not make the budget this year, nor did buses. So I just ask that whenever you consider on April 9th approving the budget, would also ask you to consider a motion to allow Jessica to add buses and electronic student devices to cover that growth of the penny, whatever she happens, because what's going to happen is somewhere during the 9th meeting, whenever you're considering it and approving it, and somewhere between the next 24 hours, she's going to meet with Susan Gass, and they're going to determine some information, and she's going to share with County Commission information. So the time I've been here, we always have a little growth to meet maintenance of effort for the county, and I would anticipate that growth being in there.
So does the property tax figure here reflect the existing worth of the penny as of this year?
It does.
It does, okay.
Yeah, it's estimated this fiscal year at $242,500.
So you just projected that without knowing for next year?
I haven't projected anything within that. It's the same amount.
Well,
She'll give me the growth,
Oh,
and
okay.
then I'll insert that, and
Okay.
we'll know. So potentially, average, it's been 3%, but a lot's happened in our county. So,
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing some.
One thing that I also want to talk about in the budget is whenever we have rollover. So rollover happens for various reasons. During COVID, there was a huge influx of federal money into our budgets. And a lot of times, federal money replaced state money or local money, and of course, we spend someone else's money before we spend our money. We spend grant money. Just like now, there is school safety grants. We also receive, there was money in the BEP that's tied to school safety that's in 141. We always spend that grant money first and save 141 money. So that we also, there's unfilled positions, a few unfilled positions that happen. Like right now in the budget, there are 2 positions in the budget in case they're needed. I don't have to come to the board and ask for a position. So come August, the whatever, we start back, and a kindergarten classroom's projected at 45 kids at Newmarket, and there's 60 kids show up. I need another teacher tomorrow. I can't come to the board. I can't do a special call meeting, wait 10 days and try to hire a teacher. I've got to have that position. So if we don't need that position, that's $70,000 or more with associated costs that rolls. Also, there, we talked about some of our big property tax and sales tax. We project that conservatively, and in years past, there's always been more revenue come in those categories than is budgeted. So that's excess money that occurs and is rolled. Insurance benefits, also here recently, paid parental leave. So whenever, now at the state, whenever an employee has a birth or adoption of a child, the state pays for 30 paid vacation days, 30 days off. So that money's already in the budget to pay that employee. They have a circumstance that gives them paid parental leave, and the state sends us money. Last year, $350,000 was collected that went back into the budget, or went into the roll. So that is money that we've received additional TISA funds. So right now, we're budgeting TISA money off an estimate. And in years past, the TISA has come in higher than budgeted, and there's been money there also. So there's various ways of how that roll happens that has allowed the board to do roofing projects, renovations, and various projects that you all have funded through those rollover money. I can't, it's over $50 million in the last 6 years that we have invested without request for county money. The first request for county money came in splitting the project at Jefferson Elementary. So the the roofing projects, the big ones. I gave you a list at one time. HVAC, the roofing projects, the Piedmont renovation, Talbot renovation, various other ag building, culinary, all kinds of projects that have been accomplished without a burden on taxpayers, without a request for county. So that's a great accomplishment, great use of money to be able to do that. About to lose my voice. I'll quit talking.
All right, appreciate all that. A lot of information to digest. So then that'll bring us down to commissioners' items for discussion. Has anybody got anything?
Just a couple things. The communications director, have we started interviewing for that? I know it's in next year's budget, so I'm not worried about the money.
We have interviewed one round of interviews. A second round of interviews for finalists is tomorrow, and then we'll go from there after tomorrow. So we're getting close. I don't know where the candidates stand as far as being able to or when they could start versus what they're doing now. So, but definitely no later than a July 1st start date, and earlier if they are available.
Thank you. One last thing I'd like to say is, when I got the text from Dr. Arnold about the 11-year-old up at Russ Strong and that terrible situation, my heart just sunk. I would like to go on record as just extending every condolence, every blessing, every prayer to that family. It's got to be a terrible thing. Thank you.
Concerning bullying, what is the current documentation process? Do we have one?
I can send that to you. So, on your table today is the bullying, policy. And I can send you it talks in there about investigative. I can send you a, investigative document that is utilized. So there is a process, paperwork, whenever it is termed bullying or not, it's all documented in there.
And is there any follow-up for parents of the victims of bullying?
So
I think there's a disconnect. Usually the biggest concern that I hear when I do hear about bullying is that the parents don't know what's going on. And I'm wondering, is there any follow-up? Like a phone call or something to let them know progress is moving forward or something like that?
So
without going into
Yeah.
student detail of
Yeah.
disciplinary actions, I understand we can't do that. But like just kind of something to give the parents of the victims, bullying, like a heads up, just to let them know that progress is being made.
Yeah, definitely whenever a bullying is determined, even whenever bullying is not determined, parents are notified through information, either phone calls from principals, information sent home. We look today at bullying reports. There's 145 bullying investigations that have been started this school year alone at schools. And some of those result in bullying determination, some of them do not. You can see in your board policy that it dictates what bullying consists of. But even if it's not bullying, even if there's an event where it's some sort of conflict that spur of the moment happens, those are still addressed. And our goal of all of our administrators, we all talk about communication to parents, information given to them. So our goal is to communicate, because without giving that information to parents, we can't do it alone. We can't stop. We can't stop bullying as a school. We see a kid, we're in session less than 180 days, less than 7 hours a day, we have that kid in our school system. So, it takes the work of, parents have to know whether that's bullying, whether that's, misbehavior in the school, on the school bus, whatever. It is important that those parents are aware of that situation, whatever it may be. Whether it's lack of academic success, student effort, missing work, informing those parents is priority to be able to get solutions. So that's our goal, is to inform parents.
Okay, so I know that there are some bullying cases that move forward with law enforcement, and in that case, it's out of our hands, from what I understand.
We still are involved even whenever law enforcement, I don't know about bullying. So bullying and threat assessments, law enforcement's mainly involved in threat assessments.
Right.
Yeah. So bullying is more a school team of an administrator, teacher, counselor, whatever that may be on that team. whereas law enforcement's more involved in the threat assessment team. So even though anything that moves to law enforcement that's a school matter, we're still acting on it at a school level.
So are our parents notified at least the, you know, the student that has been threatened by another student, you know, and it's moved forward, it's out of our hands? Are the parents of the victim child at least notified, you know, it has been handed over to a different department that's taking that?
Yeah, we never, I would say we never wipe our feet of any situation that involves our students. We had an incident at Jeff Middle the other day where Carrie, myself, Melanie, the assistant principal, we were all involved. And you know, Melanie made phone calls to the person that was doing that made the threats, and then she made calls to the parents of students who were threatened. 4 or 5 calls to 5 parents called. So, you know, it is our intention to always make those calls, even whenever it's not bullying, but especially whenever there is a threat, a credible threat, we're going to make those calls.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else for input?
I understand we have a policy. It's pretty detailed, it's 3 pages long. Yeah, as a board, we deal with policy. Yeah, I'm just gonna encourage the board, I'm gonna challenge everybody to really look over it and see if we can strengthen it. See if we can put some teeth into it. Look at the discipline side of things. And when I, you know, was saying that, I understand there's also the state side of things that, you know, that we abide by with certain time limits of investigations and how we approach things too. But, you know, our responsibility as a board is to run this district through policy. And, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and try to point the finger at any one reason for why it happens. Bullying's happened. I graduated in '85 and it happened back then. But I do think that we should, you know, just take a moment to sit back at some point and take a look at it. Just see what you think, you know, see what we could maybe improve, you know. My heart still breaks for that family, you know. It's me and Dan, it's in our backyard, you know, but it doesn't matter if it's our backyard or if it's clear across the county in White Pine. Still doesn't change that we could, you know, look at how we're doing things and maybe strengthen things. And I'm not saying we're doing anything wrong, but I think that's our responsibility as a board. And, you know, I'm just gonna encourage everybody to take what we have right here and look at it. I do have a question. It's kind of looking at across the nation, not just our state, where low incidence and bullying stuff. Do we have any program that we currently do as far as anti-bullying program? You know, we haven't still in the, I haven't really seen anything in the state.
I was gonna ask the same sort of question. Is there something like that students could get involved in?
So our school counselors are required to do bullying prevention lessons at least once a year, and encouraged to do them more if needed in their school building. So even if a teacher comes up and says, hey, my class is having an issue, then there's to go in and address those things. They use different things. Again, we don't have a formalized curriculum, but they piece apart things together that will impact our students based on our state standards. So there's not a formalized curriculum, but they are required to do a class specifically on anti-bullying every year, with every grade level.
Are teachers, and I have no idea, do they go through some kind of, like maybe at the beginning of the year, go through a bullying?
So all our school employees have a training, it's called Safe Schools Training, and there is a section in there on bullying, how to recognize it, and things like that. So all teachers and employees in general know what that is and how to report that.
I have a question. We have zero tolerance, correct? Okay, if we have a child that is bullying another child and it's reported to our principal, what do we do?
So the term zero tolerance is that's in state code, and there's only 4 ways that zero tolerance can be enacted on. And that is, here we go, drugs, assault, weapon, and threat of mass violence. Those are the 4 zero tolerance type of issues. So within that fall under state law that get zero tolerance, whenever we can mark zero tolerance on the form. Now remember, we do 4-year-olds to 19-year-olds within our school district. So policies on what is, conflict or bullying fall under different types of categories as we try to teach kids right from wrong and how to interact. So it is very important that, I've seen bullying incidences that have resulted in a 365-day expulsion from school, which is the same disciplinary action for a zero tolerance offense. We've also have incidences that result in, in schools, out of schools. So there's a variance depending upon what the bullying is and the age of the child and the action that the child, what they did.
Let me ask you this real quick, and tell me if I'm wrong. I could have swore when I was at that legal institute, not this past summer, but summer before, that they were talking about students who might have IEPs or receive services like that, that sometimes that will affect what you can do. You can only suspend them so many days, even if, maybe if they were, I'm just saying if they were the bully or, how does that work?
Sure, there's different protections. So a child who has some sort of disability where they fall under 504, an IEP, or suspected disability, whenever they commit an action or that causes a disciplinary action by an administrator, if it goes over 10-day suspension, where they've been suspended 5 days and 4 days, and then you're going to suspend them again, and once it crosses that 10th day, they have to have a manifestation determination meeting, and then once that manifestation determination meeting is held, then the action, if you were going to suspend them further or change their placement to an alternative school setting, you can do that once it's determined that their disability did not cause them to the discipline that occurred. So it is safeguards for kids in place with IEPs, 504s, suspected disabilities.
You know, I may not should say this, but a lot of bullying starts at home. You know, parents are supposed to teach your child, you don't bully, you go to school to be taught, but if parents don't teach it at home, the child's not going to care. You know, back when I was little, you got your tail tore up. I mean, but we didn't have bullying in school. When we was in school, if you had a problem, you went out, fought it out, and then went back to class and became friends. But nowadays, parents, you know, I don't whip my child, you know. That's up to the parent. But I still say a lot of the bullying starts at home. Correct your child at home. So that's all I got.
Yeah, of course those devices don't help kids escape each other. So, you know, one thing I've always warned parents about is, you know, they say that they may not let their child have a phone, but they let them have an iPad, or they let them have an Xbox, and there's still communication on those anything that connects to the internet, they can communicate on and share things. And, you know, we see it all the time where people post things on social media that, you know, they wouldn't say in person, or act a way on social media that they don't act in person. And that is a learned, you know, it is a sad thing. So, but within the bullying policy, the school supports whether it's if it affects a child's education, if something is done at home and it comes into the school, cyberbullying or bullying at the bus stop or wherever it may be, you know, that's outside of our scope. Yeah. We can't control it, but we still support that child and try to get them the help and support they need. But, you know, we need to, just like the sheriff message, if you hear something, see something, say something. That's helped us a lot. It's the same thing, you know, we have to know, you know, a lot of times we have to catch kids in the act of something because people don't tell us everything that's going on, don't share. But I can promise you that, you know, we're here to help and support kids. We don't want to see anything bad happen to a kid. You know, it's just heartbreaking.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
In our bullying policy, how much of that is state regulated, state mandated, and how much of that is left up to our local discretion?
If you look on that back page, there's 14 codes that are referenced. So it is very extensive in those 14 codes. And then there's also cross-references over there on the side that talk about 504s, IEPs. But, you know, it's just not, this policy protects all. It's not just students. It's not just the bully or you know, it's employees. It affects everybody. You know, we've had cases of both kids and employees that we have dealt with over the years. So, you know, it's very important to understand that this policy protects all, not just students.
Thank you.
Could we look into different possible bullying programs? I think it'd be a good idea. I mean, if we're not doing it now, I briefly mentioned something about looking across the country, and I think it was North Dakota, I may be wrong. I think it was North Dakota had the lowest bullying/incident was looking into that, and they have incorporated some kind of programs, and I don't know if it's one program throughout the state, or if it's each district has to kind of do their thing. I think it'd be worth looking into, seeing what kind of programs. Can we have somebody look into it? I don't mind looking into it myself, but
No, we'd be happy.
I'm not educational enough to know what would be more effective, but, you know, maybe just see.
We'll be happy. I mean, you know, Carrie, she has a lot on her right now, but yeah, we'll be happy to look into that. Carrie's background is there, and she got a lot of connections for, so we can see.
I'm sure she has a lot more expertise than me in that kind of field.
Yeah, I think something like, I always think about DARE program. I love that growing up. If there's something like that, I think it'd be good. I mean, and of course, we know kids' attention span is just like that. So you gotta get something that's gonna get them to pay attention. And it's an important thing. And I agree with Danny. I'm a person that believes that parents have a right to be involved in their child's education. You also have a right to do what is right for that child and every other child that kid's around too. I mean, it just don't stop with, I'm concerned about their math scores or their English or something like that. We're trying to put well-rounded citizens out of these schools. And if you think that it's the teacher's job to do that, you know, I can only do so much. It's gotta be reinforced at the home. So I agree with Danny. I feel like, you know, it's a hard situation that you get put into. We faced something similar last year. A colleague of mine, his grandson committed suicide, about the same age, through bullying at the middle school down at Carnes. And I mean, that whole family was just devastated. And it's a difficult situation. And I would not want anybody to have to go through that. I feel terrible that these folks are having to go through it. So anything we can do, so once again, I agree with you, Paul. I'd like to see if we could get something, get them kids involved, maybe make it a little bit more pressure on their minds. So thank you for bringing that up. Anyone else? Doug, when was your policy meeting?
Policy meeting is before the next work session in May. I don't have that date.
27.
What's that?
I think it's 27.
27? It's, it'll be at 5:30, and we do have enough policy on there to discuss to have the meeting, so it'll be at 5:30 before the next work session.
Alrighty, so dates and everything, just make sure everybody's up. So our business session will be April 2nd, 6:30. Then we have the special called meeting for the budget, April 9th.
What time is it?
6:30.
Is it 6:30?
Yeah.
6:30 also.
April 9th, 6:30, and then the next work session will be April 27th, which Doug just talked about. That'll be, when policies, that'll be April 27th, 6:30, so. Any other announcements?
5:30 policy.
5:30.
And then the work session.
5:30 policy.
Yes.
Could I ask Chase to come back up here?
Yeah.
A couple things I'd like to ask him about. So, when you're talking about doing, it's like doing a wellness class, would this be something that you would be willing to come in and do yourself, like you
Yeah.
or somebody else?
Um,
I mean, so it wouldn't be any cost to the school district to actually teach this, right?
It wouldn't be any cost to the school district. Hunter Education is paid for through federal grants and things like that. They pay the agency. We've got volunteer instructors that it's something that we can bring in. A lot of them are retired law enforcement. But the agency, each wildlife officer is required to be a hunter education instructor. So there's 4 or 5 of us locally, Jefferson County, Cobb County, wherever
this would also be a couple of things. One would be probably satisfying the state requirement.
It would satisfy the state requirement.
I don't know if there's any certain amount of hours we have to do that or anything. I would imagine as long as we're at least doing it.
The class is an 8-hour class, and I don't know the exact requirement on, the law that they passed last year. I know like the K through 2, there's like 5 minutes of, hey, you see a gun, don't touch it. And as they got older, it progressed more towards what we teach as hunter ed. I'm not super familiar with what they passed last year. I just know that it's been implemented across the state. But it would require, the hunter ed would, they would be satisfactory for that program. Sure.
And on top of that, I've done this, I've actually taken it with your dad, doing it at night. Took me all week to do it.
Yeah.
You know, but it would also help out, you know, that was hard as a parent. I mean, it's a great course. I've done it with my kids. And, you know, I did it when I was, 14 years old with my dad. I think I was probably about 40 years old when I did it with your dad. And I learned stuff. I could probably do that thing just about every year.
So,
Go ahead.
I'm a big proponent of getting kids outdoors, hunting, fishing, shooting. They don't even have to hunt, but just going out and shooting. I think it was, when was it, Glenn, 2004, 2005? When you and Dad and Mark
2005.
come in front of the board, and we actually have a shooting program started in the county through the school system. And I don't know if Danny's grandson has been involved. There's been, golly, several hundred kids go through it. And part of that requirement is hunter education. But they travel all over the country shooting, and it's a good time. So it's one of those things that I'm a big proponent for, is getting kids outdoors. Because if they're outdoors, they're not in front of those devices and stuff.
Amen.
Would it also get their hunter safety
That
way?
would satisfy the hunter safety, which, January 1st, 1999, everybody born after that has to happen. And what I always tell people is, if you never hunt and you've had the class, you at least know, hey, if there's a gun laying on this table, I know what to do with it. I know how to handle it safely.
But I also think too that, somebody ignorant as far as not knowledgeable of a gun is way more dangerous than somebody that at least knows how to handle a gun too, so.
There's kids that I would trust with guns more than